Okay. Hey, Sheri, I'm looking at all the buttons, and they all tell me that we are live with episode number 45 of Conversations with Sheri and TerryAnn. What do you think? Episode 45.
Wow. So we have five more and then we made it to 50.
Yes.
I know. Isn't
All
that crazy?
that. Oh, and there's 52 weeks. I didn't even put that together. 52 weeks in a year. We're almost there. That's
I know.
awesome.
I started wondering when we were hitting the year mark. I can't
We're going
believe
to have a big party here soon. In the meantime, I want to welcome everyone to Conversations with Sheri and TerryAnn. I am TerryAnn, life coach TA. It's time to defeat those lies of negative self-talk by changing your perspective, which will open your eyes to possibilities, leading to pathways onto which you can choose to proceed in truth. And my co-host, as usual, is...
Good morning. I am Sheri Berger, the owner of Here to There Consulting, and we educate business owners with those tools to balance life, business, and finances so that you can have growth, success, and leadership, grow in your leadership as well. So welcome to the Conversations with Sheri and TerryAnn. My mission is to help you create the life and business that you deserve. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. As you can see, I am not at home. So I'm in a hotel room. So I want to apologize for my background, but there you go. But I am here. So I am out of town on training. So that's always important to do. And this morning, what are we going to talk about, TerryAnn?
Oh, today's episode, Life Happens. I could almost see this as a sitcom or even a drama because life happens. It doesn't matter how much planning you put into it. Life happens.
We were having a lot of life happening this morning, trying to get this technology and hotel to let me connect. And oh my goodness, I thought you were going to do this solo, or I was just going to freeze and go in and out. So God willing, none of that happens this morning. But as you see, we are on episode 45.
Yes.
What has this taught you, TerryAnn? We've done Conversations, Sheri and TerryAnn, 45 episodes, and it's always went exactly how we planned, right, TerryAnn?
When?
You mean life has happened by going
life happens all the time, doesn't it?
Every Wednesday, we don't know what's going to happen, even though we have a plan. So you should always have a plan, though, right? How about if we just showed up with no plan?
I think we have to have a little bit of plan, but the thing I've learned, we've got to be flexible. And sometimes we have to remember that we have with the plan, we have the ultimate goal. The goal may not change, but boy, the pathway to it ends up going all different squiggly kind of ways, and definitely most times not the way I had it all written out.
Good morning. We have Grace on. We have Linda on.
Who's with us?
Good morning. So glad to see you guys.
Good morning, ladies. So, ladies, what do you do when life happens to you? I was telling Sheri earlier today, we went looking for a car, which reminded me several years ago, within a 6-week period. Now, first of all, I was going to save money, so I cut our insurance way down to nothing. Then the transmission went out in Reed's car. This was the third time. That's it. We're not doing this anymore. Car is junked. Well, we still have my car. Not a problem. Except that the next day, I rear-ended another car, totaled my car. Okay, now what are we going to do? Well, this is how much money we have. This is all we have. When we go and we look and we find a car, just that right amount of money. A few weeks later, the first time that I am driving this car all by myself, I'm driving down the road and a huge tree limb literally falls off the big tree and on top of my car while I am driving. I called my husband, said, please come down here. I was about 2 miles from home. We got the car home. I went under the covers and I cried for a while. What else can you do at that point? We have now 3 cars all wrecked sitting in our driveway. And my answer, under the covers and cry for a while. Then life happens though. I did have to come out from under the covers and look at what do we do now. Do you ever have anything like that happen, Sheri?
Oh, yeah. We always drive used cars, so I've had that happen more than I want to admit. And there's been time my husband was maintaining 7 cars, being that we have 4 children. So, yeah, there's been times when every weekend 2 or 3 cars were broke. And it was like, oh, my gosh, and having to share cars. So, yeah, that gives you a lot of patience, or when you have no cars. And actually, my poor husband's had his car in the shop for almost 3 months now. So his patience is getting a little thin. But learning to pivot can make all those differences, right? And then we were talking about options that we have with cars. And I even told my husband this recently when we've been mainly down to 1.5 cars for about 3 months here. So I've said, I can take an Uber. I can call friends. I have other reasons. And then we keep trying to have time for a weekend to look for a car and trying to get both of our schedules. And the problem is with our schedules, my husband works till 8:30 at night. So trying to find a car. And like this weekend, I'm out of town for training. So it's just been one thing after another. So hopefully maybe next weekend we'll have time to look for cars, but we will see. I think cars can be one of those major things of life happens. We should almost put it on our cars, because it's not if my car will break down, it's when my car will break down. And I don't know about you, TerryAnn, but Kevin and I never get in wrecks. And I'm going to knock on wood. But when that's going to happen, which it might have happened 8 years ago or something, we're both going to do it. I have no freaking idea why. I call it karma. It's going to happen. So I think we should plan, right? Because what does Grandma used to say? Save for a rainy day, for when it happens, not if it's happening. So we do need to plan for those things. But technology, that is one thing that's a pain in the butt to plan for. Drama with family. Can you plan for that, TerryAnn?
Can I turn the channel on that one?
Exactly. So there's so many things in our life that we have to pivot. I know a guy who can look for you both, and he's good. Yes, I know a car guy too that's really, really good. So if you're talking about Neil, he's amazing. He can help you find a car within your price range. And then there's the car dog, Chuck. He's another amazing one. So yes, we do have resources to do that. And so
hello, Linda Kiger. Welcome. We were just talking about how life happens.
Life happens. That's for sure. So things don't always go as we plan, right? In different areas of our life.
So what do you do? What do you do when you get that moment when, oh, we're sitting down to dinner, everything is just fine. Oh, we're the happy, the happy Norman Rockwell family, everything's great, and then something happens. How do you adjust when life happens? What do you do?
You have a plan, right? And like Grace is saying, you can outsource some of those stressors of like looking for a car, because Chuck the car guy could help you based on what price range you're in. And Neil could help you in the other price range. So I know those type resources, and those are great resources. Sometimes we need to look at that, right? What are our opportunities? What are our resources?
And Grace, I find that, it sounds silly to some people. To me, it doesn't, because you know what? Once you get that cry out, your mind is cleared. Okay, now I can face it. But you've got to get past that emotional, chaotic moment. And if it takes tears, go cry it out. Because if that is what it takes to clear the mind so that you can start to think clearly through the situation.
Well, I love what she just said, because remember, TerryAnn, we were just talking about, you said you pretty much hid under your covers after 6 weeks of car crap. And there's times I say, yeah, we want to hide under our bed and cry, and nothing is wrong with that. It's when you decide to pick yourself up and then look at what you're options are available, like we were talking about earlier, some of our options here with even a car, right?
Sure.
And then you have options with technology, and you have options with
Mm-hmm.
whatever's going on. But sometimes if you're so upset, you can't.
Right. You've got to get
You
past that
know my
upset moment.
favorite cry place, if you want to talk about cry places,
What's
is
that?
in the shower with hot water. And there's no kids, no husband. Because, oh my gosh, if my husband finds me crying, oh my goodness, sometimes he's just trying to fix it. And then after I can get that so-called cry is to call a good friend and talk to them about what your options are. But if you just need to spend time crying, and I say praying, right, and dealing and getting it right with God, like I was just recently telling Linda's on here, Linda Wilson, but I was just recently telling her we need to do our best and trust God with the rest. That's sometimes all we can do, right, is to do our best. Take a breath, pray, then take action, such as
throw pillows at the floor. Yes, throw the pillows, slam the cabinet doors. It's amazing how much emotion can be put in that.
So we put a punching bag in the garage because my son used to get frustrated. And we would say, it's okay, go punch the punching bag. But it's not okay to put a hole in the wall. It's not okay to, you know what I mean?
Right, so you find ways.
Slam the door or slam the cabinet. But depending on how big you are, you could break those.
Well, that's true.
Punch the bag, right? I had a big son. Just go punch the bag. I understand you're mad, right?
You know what I did one day? What I did one day, my family, when my kids were little, nobody would drink from juice glasses. Those are baby glasses. Well, juice glasses at that time came with every set of glasses that you bought. One day, just in frustration, I thought I wanted to hit something. I wanted to break something, and I was all by myself. So I thought, oh, I'll do those juice glasses. Now, wait a minute. If I do those juice glasses, I'm going to have a mess to clean up. So I'm thinking this all the way through. So I put the juice glasses in a plastic bag or a paper bag. I put the paper bag in the sink, and then I got out the meat mallet and I beat on them. Got it all done. Take the bag, throw it away. Everything's said and done. I calculated how to do this without having to clean up the mess or hurt myself. But hey, it worked. And it even got me to laughing, especially as I try to retell. This is what I did one time in a moment of anger, not knowing what to do to release my anger.
I think it's hilarious because you planned out your whole anger. Now, I don't run. Somebody told me I can't wait till I can run again. I'm like, are you kidding me? No. But I go for a power walk. And then you can either vent or talk to yourself or whatever and get yourself back in lane. But I like Grace says, what is worse is holding that stress in. Yeah, not crying and releasing it. That's actually a way that we release stress and tension. And I found that out when I lost my brother 9/11 in the Pentagon. I was pregnant with number 4 through that, and it got dragged out 6 months. My brother never got identified. So he was Army, and one Navy guy from the Pentagon never got identified. And they were coming and reading gruesome details, and it was a long, drawn-out process. But I realized I'm the oldest girl. I'm also a mom. I'm also a wife. I also am a daughter-in-law to his widow, right? I mean, sister-in-law to his widow. So I realized it was literally a year later that I realized I didn't give myself time to grieve because I was too busy taking care of and worrying about everybody else being okay. I mean, I had a baby that became high risk. She had to be took 6 days early C-section. All of a sudden I realized I lost it like a year after, right? And you realize you never let yourself cry or release it. And to be honest with you, I just recently lost my second dad, Gerald. Very much apparent to me. Very, very hard loss. And I lost him August 30th. And I think it was about 3 or 4 months. Even though I cried when I lost him, I cried at the funeral. All of a sudden, one day I was losing it in the car, and I finally had to cry, do all that. Called a friend, and they're like, you just lost him like less than 90 days ago. Give yourself some grace. And I'm only saying that because sometimes we forget. We're only human, and it's okay that you're still grieving. And I'll be honest with you, with Gerald, it's still a process that I'm going through. And you have to realize that. And again, give yourself some grace in that. And like Grace said, it's great to cry. Love it. I'm laughing. She loved, I think, the fact that you banged. Maybe that's what I need to do. Break some knuckles. Joking. But what
break
is it?
Glasses, it helps.
What do you need to do just to get right?
Right.
I mean, you've heard people go outside so they can scream. What the heck?
Yes.
But that can be good as long as you don't scream where somebody thinks that they need to call 911 because somebody's being injured. So where can you? That's why I always like the shower, especially I have 4 kids, and you know what I mean? Nobody knows I'm crying in the shower, and
That's
everybody will just leave me alone.
Now, it's good to be alone, but we were also talking earlier, little Winnie the Pooh in the background. What do Winnie the Pooh and his friends do? They gather together around each other. We need our friends. Girls, we need girlfriends. Someone that will let us cry, not try to fix it. Let us cry. When we're ready, give us the truth that we need to face. Because that good girlfriend is going to know, I need to tell you this, but now's not the time. And they know that moment when you are ready to accept. And then they can give you that truth. We need our friends. It's great to go off into isolation and cry, but we need our friends too.
But remember we even talked about that, which is real important that you go to your friends. And I'm not saying that, but you love it when, you'll give your friend advice. Like, your car's broke. You could do Uber till you find something else. But then when somebody says that to you, you're like, I don't want to do Uber. I don't like that option. You know what I'm saying? So how easy is it to give your friend advice or somebody else? But how hard is it for you? To accept that advice too. So sometimes if you have that friend that understands, what do you want to call it? Grieving or anything we go through is a process, right? I've had friends go through divorce and they're just like, I've been divorced, believe it or not, but people that have went through divorce are just like feeling like it's a death because it is.
It is.
And people don't understand, or they lose a friend and it feels like a death, because it is a loss. It's a loss of that relationship. It's a loss of, I was a teenager when I left Alaska. Oh my gosh. Do you know what a loss that was for me? I had such a hard time. And when we drove through Canada, Grace is going to love this because we drove down the Alaska highway. Canada looks a lot like Alaska. So I was fine until we got to Seattle. Then I realized I was out of my comfort zone. I wasn't what I used to seeing. It was not, right? Again, this was a teenager that never left. And I remember how hard I cried because that was a loss, right? That was a loss of everything I knew. And now you're taking me to the very unknown. And to make matters worse, right? I moved from Alaska to Atlanta. That's a huge culture shock. But that's another story. But I'm saying those can be losses in our life as well. And the funny thing is, I'm how old? And that was how many years ago? And I still remember how I felt. How I just felt like I lost in all my friends and all my right. It was a lot. So anyway, loss can be hard depending on what it is.
Yes, it is. Welcome to our Facebook user. We're glad you're joining. What do you do when life happens to you? Hey, I like this. Grace says that National Girlfriends Day is August 1st.
Oh, good. What are we going to do, girlfriends?
Let's see. That's a Sunday. You know what, Sheri? We'll have to talk about this. We might do a special girlfriend event. What do you think?
We should. That would be fun.
Let's talk about that. After the show. We may come up with Grace, you got my mind going. I think we
have to meet for coffee, not tea, to talk about this, Terry.
Take a last second trip to Dallas.
So we can't see who you are because you got to accept with StreamYard, blah, blah, blah.
I think it's somebody in Dallas because somebody in Dallas is going to come visit them.
I believe it's somebody coming to meet us in Dallas for training.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, there you go. Because
Good.
Training starts tonight. So there you go. And
So life happens.
everybody should go through some kind of training and stuff. But even that, life can happen, right? You can have, when you're trying to travel, life can happen. Yep, it's Pam. That's what I thought. And life can happen with traveling, right? You can get a
Sure.
3-hour delay. You can get told that you have to get tested for COVID and not be to get on the plane, or especially nowadays when you're trying to travel, how's life happen, right? So you can plan and it doesn't go as planned. We drove in. So when you drive in, you could get a flat tire. You could get, knock on wood, I shouldn't be saying any of this because by the grace of God, things have went well, but you have to realize that life can happen then too.
Yes.
So, yeah. So you never know. Life happens. So we have a plan, and you said we still should have a plan, TerryAnn?
Have a goal. Have a goal and a plan, but know that your plans might have to be a little bit flexible. It doesn't necessarily change your goal, though. Even if you have a flat tire, your goal is still to get to this training. Now, sometimes we have to change our just check it all and say, that's it. We're going home. That doesn't happen a lot. But you do still have your goal. And if you have that flat tire, well, all right, we'll get the tire fixed somehow, but we're still going to get to the training. So you still get your goal.
How did that happen in 2020, right? We had so many goals.
Right.
Toastmasters, for instance, was a huge deal. We had world champion speakers going to speak. We had our conference. We had, right? And we're not you were helping the district with a lot of that. I was behind the scenes in it all. But we as a Toastmaster family had to rally around and start saying, what can we do differently? How can we, right? And now another thing that we're pivoting in Toastmasters and in the business world, I get it, is now we can meet in person. So do we hybrid? Do we give up Zoom? Right? If you guys did not learn that life happens from 2020, I don't know what you learned from 2020. Because, we had all kinds of plans and they didn't go.
Plans didn't go.
Did you get to go to Paris? I got to go to Paris this year.
I did go. Yes, I did go virtually to Paris. That was nice.
Yeah, because we virtually got to go to the conference and listen to the world champion speakers. I don't know about you. I wouldn't have been able to afford to go to Paris.
That's right.
So those were great opportunities that happen when life happens. So it's sometimes about our attitude when life happens, right?
That makes a difference.
We break down. You know what? At least we broke down at a Quick Trip, or at least we broke down. I don't know. You need to change your perspective in it.
Okay, this happened.
And right now, Pam yesterday literally bought a plane ticket and she's in Dallas today. So she said she didn't plan. Why plan when God gives you the opportunity? Book the flight. That's
all
what
right.
happened.
I like that.
But she had her plane ticket. She had her plane ticket from last time we were supposed to do training, and it didn't work out. A year ago, we couldn't do training in person. We had it all on Zoom. And now a lot of us have not met this whole last year, and now we're getting to meet finally. Where a year ago, we thought we'd meet on training, but we've met on training, but it's been Zoom, which is much different than face-to-face. But you still got those opportunities.
Yeah, like Pam, I do have those plane vouchers. I don't know what we're going to do or where we're going to go, but I had a training event planned. Everything scheduled, the motels, everything was paid for, the flights. Yes, I have those plane vouchers too. So what are we going to do? We hope that they'll do it this year.
Well, and that's how she's reusing them for the training originally. But the airline was giving her grief over, you get refunds or you get vouchers, but then they got to be where they fly. And I don't even know.
Right.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
And then those do expire. So you have to use them by whatever date. So we have to, but then they gotta have flexibility in that, being that we're in a pandemic. So there's been a lot of pivoting going on and a lot of life happening these last.
There was a lot of life this past year, and a lot of people learned how to pivot in the happening. And now, as we're coming out of it, a lot of businesses have changed the way that they're doing things. They learned a lot through this past year on how to give the kind of support needed. So a lot of things have changed, but still, even for the businesses, the goal at the end, have a successful business. Life happened. We had to change how we did business. We still had the same goal. And I think that's what's important. We still had the same goal.
And we could just grab poo in our bucket of honey and we'll be fine.
I think so. Grab Winnie the Pooh, get your bucket of honey, go sit under a tree, and then think.
I knew you like that. Hey, Pam says just to come join us in Dallas. You want to come? Just grab a ticket and go. That's what she did.
You know, I haven't been to Dallas. I haven't been there. So why not?
I'm not going to Dallas in July, but that's just me. But I'm here anyway.
Now, I did go to Waco in June, July. That's hot.
July in Dallas is hot.
I can imagine.
My family lives in Texas. They live Freeport, Sugar Land, that area. We've been to Texas, and you know what? Don't go in July because we played cards inside, and we went to the pool and the beach when the sun went up.
All right, I got to post it.
Yeah, why whine when you can whine? Is it too early to whine right now? I'm confused. Well,
that is fun. We all have.
So next week, we're going to talk about.
The topic next week is life. Make it happen.
Yeah. So now we get to talk about life. Life happens. And next week, we're going to talk about life. Make it happen.
Wait a minute, Sheri. That's implying that I have some choices in my life.
Well, I don't know. We're going to talk about next week. But I will tell you that I'm going to end on this note. My friend Gerald, my second dad, Gerald, would always tell me to make it a good day, not have a good day, because what happens around you is not up to you, but how you choose to respond by making it a good day. So I remember the day he died, I was crying. I was like Grace said, needing that grief time. But I also said, how can I make today a good day? Because that's what Gerald would tell me, make it I can start being very grateful about what a difference he made in my life, that he lived, that I had him, right? But you got to finally get there. I get that, but make it a good day.
Life happens, make it a good day. I love it. So next week, let's talk about how to do that.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.